I was joking about this earlier, but like your curls are flattened out. Like what's in the curl? What's your curl?
You're losing your swag.
I didn't say that.
You didn't have to.
Gotta walk away, even though you're lonesome. Giving my love up, even though you want some.
Welcome to the New York Times Popcast, your want to do more than just a feature of weekly cultural review. I'm John Caramanica, and I'm the critic.
I'm Joe Coscarelli, and I'm the reporter.
I'm Jack Harlow, and I'm on Popcast.
There you go. You nailed it. You're good at this.
Thanks.
Jack Harlow is a rapper and more from Louisville, Kentucky. In 2020, after moving to Atlanta, he broke out with What's Poppin. You know his subsequent hits, number one smashes, First Class, sampling Fergie's Glamorous,
And I can put you in.
Lovin on Me from 2023.
Young Jackka Rico like Suave, Young Enrique.
Jack Harlow, really happy to have you here.
Happy to be here. I've been anticipating this.
Monica, your fourth proper studio album out now, like the moment now, right now. You're watching this. That means Monica is out.
Correct.
A huge departure from the playfully intricate rap that most people know you for.
I will say, so you played me the record a couple weeks ago, and I was immediately struck, and I'll let you talk through kind of the ways in which it's different, but there are people who I think retreat from a version of themselves out of kind of fear. And then there are people who alter a version of themselves with a purpose and direction. And I think what I was very struck by in the direction of this record is how kind of like end goal focused it felt. It didn't feel like running from something. It felt like heading confidently to something.
Thank you.
Tell the people, if they haven't heard it yet, what you're running to, but also why this and why now.
I think I'd been recording a project for 2 years after Jackman, and it wasn't exciting me. I didn't feel like I was working on something that would surprise people. And I took a few weeks off because I was getting to the point where I was dreading going to the studio. I mean, not a great space to be in, obviously. And I thought about, what do I actually want to do? What would intrigue me? And I think it just struck me that I would want to do something a little more egoless. I think as I'm getting older, I'm having more trouble reconciling being braggadocious on record.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a pillar of rap. It's part of the reason I love rap music, is the braggadocio of it. But I think I spent some time thinking about, how can I make something that's true to me and lean away from that? So, and then of course, just sonically what I was listening to, I love softer, more melodic stuff. So more than anything, I think I made this out of what do I want to hear more than ever. Not a combination of what do I want to hear and what else can I accomplish within what I want to hear. Just solely what do I want to hear. So we had a lot of rules, which I could tell you about when we were making it. But I just, I think it just felt good to make something committed and concise and not, I didn't want to hedge. So yeah, there's a lot that went into it, but that's a good place to start.
The things that you had been making leading up to that epiphany, where do you think they were landing? What's on the cutting room floor?
Great question. It had both. It had DNA from before Jackman, and it also had like post Jackman focus and substance and care with the writing. But I think sonically, more than anything, it didn't feel like, oh, he's doing that. It felt like, cool, this is patented.
It's Jack Harlow. It sounded like Jack Harlow.
Exactly. And I think you get to a point where as much as you're trying to find your voice, you're also hoping to escape yourself throughout your career. So
it's interesting that Jackman is the fulcrum there, the sort of pivot point, because that was an album to me that played as like a little bit of a retreat from how famous you'd gotten. It felt like a mixtape,
it was
right?
a grounding.
I just realized that this whole game is takeable if I want it. And I do, yes, I want it.
It was a very you, home, talking about what it had been like to see the world after becoming this huge star. Still in your 20s, so this was happening for you really fast. Jackman felt like a return to that, but didn't have a smash on it, right? Yeah. It wasn't a commercial project. You weren't really promoting it as such. But then right after that, a couple months later, you drop this single, Lovin on Me, that becomes as big as First Class.
I'm vanilla, baby. I'll choke you, but I ain't no killer, baby. She's 28, telling me I'm still a baby.
Did you feel a push and pull in that moment of like, am I pop star Jack Harlow or am I quiet, reflective artist Jack Harlow?
I think I've always felt room to be both at different times. But I think I've become less interested in showing off my versatility and showing off all the ways I can shapeshift, at least on the same project, and more interested in nailing something singular and then potentially pivoting at the next point. But Jackman was definitely me sort of feeling like I've been driving this bus and I lost control of it a little bit and I needed to get it back on the ground. And that was, at the time, what my instinct told me to do, of like, let me get back down to the essence of things and, you know, why I love this. It was like the fundamentals. And, but I try not to make any decisions about what my career path is going to be, because as it's continued to develop, it surprises me with twists and turns. And I think it's best to stay open because, you know, ideally you want a unique arc, an arc that is all your own. So I don't rule out anything for the future, even after this project. No telling what I'll be on, but this is what's true to me at the moment.
I'm curious, with First Class and then Lovin' on Me, you have, I would say, hits that threatened, and it sounded like maybe did destabilize you a little bit. They're so big. And there are expectations that come with having hits of that scale. And I wonder if you can talk about the lived experience of maybe going through that.
Yeah.
And what are the obligations that come with that scale of pop success that were novel to you, unexpected, and ultimately maybe made the car harder to steer?
Yeah, absolutely. I think things just got so big that maybe there was some nuance that I originally felt like I could get across that I didn't feel like I was getting across in the same way. And so grounding it and, you know, trimming a lot of the fat off made me feel like, okay, well, maybe I don't need to get everything about myself across at once, but maybe piece by piece, I can get one nuance at a time across to people. I think even as I'm speaking right now, I'm realizing maybe that's been what the last few years have been to me. Instead of saying, I'm going to make this all-encompassing project where people realize that I'm everything. Instead, it's like, I'm okay with, I've come to terms with waiting to be understood. And in a lot of ways, I feel understood, but I think part of the reason people express themselves and become artists is this thirst to become understood and to communicate with the rest of the world and tell the world who you are. And so I'm at peace with being understood in fragments over time. And it, you know, I've taken note of some of the artists that came out in the early 2010s that it feels like the full breadth of who they are is being totally understood now and celebrated now. I think of Tyler, the Creator. I think of Drake. I think of Kendrick. And these guys almost over time have earned their opportunity to make what they're making now through 10 years of grinding and adding little pieces to the arc. So I just feel like I'm constructing an arc, and I'm more and more patient about it.
Like, were you surprised at how much time was asked of you when you have a big hit? How many obligations, how many opportunities, depending how you look at it?
Because I always wanted hits. I wanted hits before I had them, even more than I do now, I think. I mean, I love the idea of having a song that impacts everyone still, but I think even, you know, people talk about my mixtape era and how it was more this and more that. That whole time, I was very interested in making big songs.
Yeah.
I love big songs. I love songs that are accessible. And even to this day, as I make stuff that maybe feels more niche to people or more specific, accessibility is subconscious for me. I enjoy making accessible things. I don't like making things that don't invite people to whatever party I'm throwing.
We've been talking about what the album sounds like, but we haven't really talked about what it's about. And I do think that's where there's still some Jack Harlow in there, which is and a specific side of you, maybe not the puff chest, I'm a top rapper side, but I'm a gentleman, I'm a lover boy, I'm gonna tell you.
I might have made a mistake or two.
Right. Like, you know, this is an album about love and lust, regret.
Would you like to apologize to the camera now?
Maybe in a few.
One of the songs I think that feels like a thesis statement of the album to me is All My Friends with Robert Glasper that we mentioned. Starts with you saying, all my friends say I tend to come on too strong.
All of my friends tell me I tend to come on way too strong, way too fast, I'm way too gone.
You're definitely right about All of My Friends being a good representation. I'd say all these songs are just littered with different sentiments of, hey, it's all good. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
To a romantic
That is
partner.
one kind of ego, I will say.
Yeah.
Tell me more. You might be right. I'd like to know what you mean.
I think that if you feel that you are in the driver's seat, in your romantic and emotional life, it's easy and potentially ego-driven to say to one or potentially two or potentially more than two people,
Don't worry about it.
it's good. We're good. Everything's good. That's an ego. That's a position of ego.
That's interesting. I think you're right. I think ego cannot be destroyed. I'm not necessarily interested in doing away
Being
with it.
egoless.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's actually possible. I think it's something we live with
Yeah.
and we approach in different ways.
Especially in your job.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's all about how you choose to react to what your ego's telling you. And so you're right. I'm reconciling the power that comes into some of these relationship dynamics. But I think sometimes the best you can do is say, hey, this is a group decision. That's what it's all good. That's what it's all good
Doesn't
means
work.
to me.
Take
You're starting to speak for yourself.
Look,
You've been behind this microphone for a few months. You got
years
the
of
power in your own.
experience.
We're just two grown-ups talking about life. That's all we're doing. We're talking about life.
And is of course you can find ego in anything, but does that sound like the most ego-driven statement to you to say, hey, let's talk about this. I'm open-minded. Point is, I'm not attached to an outcome. And I think that's what the album is about.
But also the very privilege of not being attached to an outcome. That
Well, I didn't say I'm doing away with my privilege.
no, of course. Well, no, we're going to get to that part. But that in and of itself is a privilege to be able to be like, I'm not attached, to be the person who's beyond attachment.
Oh, yeah.
You can let things
But that
go.
ain't even in my top 20 privileges.
Winter or summer?
That's why you're my winter, she's my summer. One comes round, I crave the other.
Who did you choose?
Ego certainly cannot be escaped.
You just kept it moving.
Let the
kept it
record
moving.
reflect.
All right. I mean, let's talk about race.
Wait, winter or
Get to
summer?
We're
Winter
gonna
or
get
summer?
back. We're gonna get back to
Which
girls.
one you want to do, race or winter or summer?
No, winter or summer. Did anyone win?
It wasn't about winning.
I think it was for them.
So they were attached to an outcome.
Just a good song, ain't it?
Yeah, it's a great song.
Nah,
You've been watching a lot of movies that share themes with that song, it seems. We're gonna talk about the
right you
Letterboxd
are.
too.
Right you are. Very observant. The winter, I feel like winter might have won.
Ooh.
Yeah,
My favorite season.
It is winter. It is winter.
it is.
Can't talk to Jack Harlow without talking about race.
I would hope not.
I've had a version of this conversation with Post Malone,
Get our feet wet, like we were
Jelly
putting out
Roll.
mixtapes, so we were
MGK,
Pointing that bar out. That bar is
Young
cold
Lean.
work.
Came from me loving hip hop.
Eminem.
We've talked about it with Eminem.
Sure.
White rappers are afforded more freedom to change their genre at will. True or false?
I might have to think about that. What do you think?
I think, yeah, definitely. I think there is something about being a white rapper that first puts the chip on your shoulder. And I think that that's why a lot of the people I just mentioned, maybe Post Malone especially aside, but yourself included, rapping your ass off is really important at the beginning. Like bars, like proving yourself, right?
Yes.
You could hear that in your early music.
Absolutely.
Okay, this kush here in the gas state. I can't hit it, if I do, I might pass away. These boys fake, please quit with the masquerade. Hey, shit I hear what the pastor saying.
And then you prove yourself, you break in, you're supported by all kinds of people. You've always had a diverse friend group. You grew up in a diverse place. You have a diverse team. You have a diverse fan base. You become accepted. And then we're talking about privilege, you have the ability to say, I rapped my ass off. I'm not going to do that anymore, at least for now. And radio programmers, award shows, press, like people take you seriously if you do that. If a black rapper wants to do something completely sonically adventurous, it can often be treated as a whim or something to be ignored or a joke. That's my personal feeling.
You're framing it through the lens of intent. And I also think of it often through the lens of reception and landing places. Country music, for example, has become a safe landing place for former white rappers. Rock music has become a safe landing place. These are sort of pre-existing industry structures that welcome a famous person who got famous. I see the smile. It's great to see. I think I'd like to hear your answer to Joe's question, but also then talk about what I feel is like the radical twist of what you have chosen.
I was hoping that he would say that.
Sorry.
But you're giving him the answer, the good answer.
It's the right answer, but sorry. I'll shut up now.
What John's saying is you didn't.
What is your question?
You didn't retreat. I'll piggyback off what John's saying. John's saying you didn't retreat into a whiter genre. In fact, you arguably went deeper into.
I got blacker.
Black music.
Yeah.
Deeper into blackness.
Yeah.
So was that conscious? Was that a little twist on the typical move that white rappers make, which is to retreat back into traditionally white sounds?
It certainly made what I already wanted to do even more appealing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Because you like pushing that boundary, that line?
I think I love black music. I love the sound of black
Who
music.
among us?
Yeah, I
it's
love
like-
the sound of black music.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm hyper aware of the politics of today, that safer landing spot that a lot of my white contemporaries have found. And of course, it appealed to me to do something that I felt like at a time when there's plenty of people expecting me to take some of the routes y'all are taking.
Yep.
To take the route that not only might not be expected, but is also the one I genuinely want to take. So all the stars aligned in that way for me, to be honest. I'm not going to pretend like what you're talking about, I was like, I guess you're right. I knew that there were multiple things appealing about this route, but I also came to the decision, I'm proud to say, off of what feels good in my ear.
Mm-hmm.
I love R&B music. I love the sound of soft, intimate, melodic music. So
Yeah.
I want to be understood. I want to write melodies that invite people to sing along.
I'm so fascinated. Wrote you this sonata. Could you be persuaded? Won't say things I've thought of.
I don't think this is an anti-commercial album. It's just different than a Jack Harlow album that you might expect if you know the Jack Harlow from TikTok songs, for instance.
Of course.
Y'all wasn't tuned in back then. My swag, they keep jacking. I ain't doing no verse, quit asking. What's poppin'?
But I'm interested in what you're saying about going all in on it, because I think you're right that most artists, if they wanted to try something new, they might sprinkle it on an album, right? You might have one song that's an outlier, that's sort of like trial balloon to say, maybe I could sound like this. And then you see if the fans take to it. And if they do, maybe there's 2 songs on the next album that sound a little bit like that. That's not what you did here. You made 9 hand-played, quiet, intimate, Sunday morning R&B songs. That's how I hear it. You know, like you recorded it all.
Hence the turtleneck.
You're right.
Hence.
You recorded it all at Electric Lady. Seems like you sort of caught some ghosts in there. You know, Neo Soul came out in Electric Lady. Questlove recorded a lot of Electric Lady. You know, D'Angelo recorded Electric Lady. Erykah Badu recorded Electric Lady. Were these some of the North Stars that you were following down the road toward this particular sound?
Yeah, I think it was serendipitous that we were at Electric Lady and then I moved to New York. Even when I was trying to figure out the project before this one that got scrapped, I was at Electric Lady and I loved that studio. And it just so happened that, you know, all these variables came together and it makes this beautiful sense. But I've always loved that music. You know what I mean? I've always loved D'Angelo. I've always loved Erykah. I've always loved the intimacy and plush quality of that music. And if you look at my discography, there's little hints of this. There's Rhodes piano playing on First Class. Like there's songs throughout that are just, I really don't like erratic music. I don't like loud music. I like soft music.
Smooth.
I like smooth music. I like music that, you know, I spend a lot of time sitting in silence. I enjoy silence. So when I play music, I don't want to depart from silence. I don't like going to the club.
So no
just 'cause of the
Rage
volume.
Rap Jack project coming anytime soon.
Well, you never know. I'm only speaking for who I am today.
When we spoke in 2022, you said something interesting because we were talking about other Louisville musicians. We were talking about Bryson and ESTG, and you were like, there's something kind of silken that unites the three of you. And I think that always was the case. I listened to Bryson and I listened to you, and I can hear the threads specifically.
Yes.
When we had this kind of preliminary chat, you were telling me a little bit about the sessions and kind of like how things arrived in the sessions. And I wonder if you could talk about the decluttering process that led to the space that allowed this to emerge.
As soon as the project started, I had brought Axel Arvid, 24-year-old from Norway, did the Pink Panthers album, been a friend of mine for a couple years now. My little brother introduced me to him. My boy 2 for 1 introduced me to him, et cetera, et cetera. And I realized I wanted to do something like Monica, what I've done. And I called him up and I was like, why don't you come to New York? Because I know he loves R&B and we share a lot of the same tastes. And I said, I want to do something melodic and ideally egoless, writing-wise. I'd like to scale that mountain. And he was totally into it. And I think the first few weeks were us touring with what the mood was going to be.
Yeah.
And I think it started a lot sunnier and maybe a little more maximalist, which is more his taste. And slowly it got simpler and moodier. And
what were the rules? You said there were rules. What were the rules?
No braggadocio in the writing.
So when you say egoless, that's what you mean. You mean no bragging, specifically in the writing.
I had a convo last year with El Mean. And we were in the studio and we were just playing each other music, our music we liked, and we just were talking. It was our first time meeting. And he was talking to me about, you know, what makes Stevie Wonder's music age so well is it's all infused with love. All he's talking about is love. He's never talking about him and how great he is, which is not a groundbreaking realization, but he helped me understand that ego can sometimes make music age poorly. Obviously, there's exceptions. There's plenty of rap songs where people are talking shit that are aging like fine wine.
Or My Way. Is
Yeah,
a song
sure.
about braggadocio that aged pretty well. You know?
Sure. There's obviously exceptions, but I think for me, I just became interested in saying, okay, what if I'm a little less self-indulgent? Especially because I know that's a little closer to the person I like to be, you know, like you were talking about at the beginning of this. You run into someone, it's nice to know that your art doesn't feel like that much of a departure. And I go by my government name.
Right.
I mean, my entire career path is me been trying to get closer and closer to capturing who I actually am.
It's not a persona anymore.
I'd like to think it isn't. I'd like to think it never was, but ideally you just get more and more high definition clarity. And of course, there's a part of you that then starts to envy the guys that are playing a character. And maybe my next project will be me dipping into an alter ego. I don't know. There's not a right way, but at this point, I wanted to do something true to me. So the ego thing was huge. No cursing, not for any purity reasons.
Zero curse words.
Zero curse words.
Yep.
Just to challenge the writing, just so there was no crutches. No digital instruments except drums. Only the drums could be programmed. Everything else had to be live.
It's
so we had
live played.
We had a lot of
studio.
musicians in the studio.
Robert Glasper's on this album.
Robert Glasper's on here. Corey Henry's on here. Jermaine Paul, Franklin Rankin, they're on every song. My little brother, Clay Harlow's on 3 songs. Hollywood Cole, Angel Lopez. It's just
Raven Lenae's singing.
Raven Lenae's singing on there. Mustafa's singing on there. Omar Apollo. But we had this band approach. Like I would be in the control room and all the musicians and producers, drummers, would be in the live room. And then no rapping was probably the last, you know, which...
John and I have been going back and forth about this.
And I think even when we first had our conversation, because...
No out and out rapping, right?
I say there's no rap on this album.
Yeah.
I think you're singing.
And I think that there is melodic rapping on this album.
Right. And as long as it was melodic,
Yeah.
everything had to have melody.
Sure.
I guess the best way to put it.
Sure.
But in shorthand, we were saying no rapping.
When you talk about the writing, like let's put the ego question aside.
Yeah.
One thing that I was very struck by in finally looking at the lyric sheet, like after listening to the record a couple times and then looking at the lyric sheet, how spare, obviously, some of the bars are. They're not bars in the classic sense, but I actually went back last night and I was listening to the Killer remix.
I'm on a song with my idol. I'm a cold-blooded version of the song title. I put these
And I'm listening to older Jack radio freestyles, the Sway freestyle and stuff like that. And I'm like, I know that guy's in there. That guy, you could still do that.
Yeah.
But
Lyrical miracle.
Yeah, but I wonder the restraint in the writing here. Is that a state of mind? Is that a process of editing and deleting and editing and deleting? How do you actually arrive at something that's so terse compared to some of your most ornate rhyming and rapping?
I think one of the biggest differences is historically I find myself starting with what I want to say. When I walk through my day, I'll come up with first lines, write them in my notes, and a lot of my songs will kick off with that first line. And I have a list of first lines, a beat will play, and I'll whisper each line to myself, and one of them clicks right into place. Point being, I often start with the content of what I want to say rather than the melody or how I'm saying it or what the pocket is. I find the pocket after. It's easier for me to find pockets.
A lot of people go in the other direction.
I would say so, especially in this modern era.
Right.
I think because
The punch-in era.
for
exactly.
sure,
Yeah.
and it's more feeling driven.
Yeah.
I got back to the feeling driven style on this album. I started with melodies. There's a few songs that I had an idea for a concept for, but in general, I'm following the melody that felt good.
Yeah.
And so I think that naturally created a lot of space.
And that probably came out of the melodics and the harmonics of the live band setup,
Absolutely.
where you're hearing different pockets as opposed to a 4-bar, 8-bar loop.
But it also comes from a different intention. You know, I didn't make this album to say, I'm going to let these people know what I feel and what I think of myself and what I think of the world. That wasn't the goal, which is often the goal, making rap music for me.
Right.
It's like, I'm going to get my point of view across
Right.
and put a lot of high end on my vocal and turn it up.
It's detailed and you're right in people's ears.
And
Yeah.
make sure every syllable is audible.
Right.
This time it was much more, I'm just another instrument.
You're
And
an
that
instrument
goes-
in the ensemble.
Yeah, and that goes
Yeah.
back to the egoless quality. It's
Yeah.
like, of course, I'd love for people to hear what I'm saying, and if they don't notice what I said to the fourth listen, that's fine. I just want it to be pleasant. I wanted to add something to my discography that could be enjoyed passively. I don't feel like I've accomplished that yet.
So you're okay with this playing in a coffee shop?
I would hope it does. Yeah, I would love that. I would love that. I just want it to be endlessly enjoyable. I mean, when we were mixing, this is the
You're
lowest.
lower in the mix. Way
this
lower
is the
in
lowest
mix.
I've ever let myself be. I wanted to be more impressionist instead of a high def photograph of
Right.
check Jack out.
How do you think of yourself as a singer versus as a rapper? Are you as good a singer as you are a rapper?
No, I still think of myself as a rapper. Like I still would prefer for people, you know, if they only get one term to introduce me, I like being a rapper.
That's even now after this.
Even
record.
after making something melodic,
Okay.
I would love for people to refer to me as a rapper first.
Okay.
And I think I'm limited as a singer. I think part of what, you know, made me, part of my approach to making something melodic was, let me see where in my register and what notes I can hit sweetly, and let's lean into those. Because, you know, you hear these beats and they present a key, and I play around on the mic and I finally land somewhere that sounds suitable to me, and I play in that space. I mean, but you listen to the album, like some of the biggest feedback I've gotten is constructive criticism, I would say, is, you know, maybe you could put a little more power behind there.
Right.
Maybe
it's
you
all
could
sort of one.
Yeah, there's a little monotony
register.
to it. But I think
Do you feel like you're singing from your chest, or you feel like you're singing more from up here?
it definitely ain't down here.
Do you have
I'll
a
tell
vocal
that.
coach?
No.
Never did.
I've met with vocal coaches
Sure.
throughout my career for
Breath
performances.
control.
But for this album, the intent of this album wasn't to prove to people I could sing.
it was to be raw.
It wasn't even that. It was to make music that sounded really good to me, the best I could, and find the spots in my voice that are sweet. And that's where I want to land.
There's a video out there of you singing with the Louisville Orchestra. You did "Fly Me to the Moon," I believe. A sort of little known clip. We're surprised it didn't go viral.
I remember it doing that.
Was that you? Was that
your
you
world, it was
tapping
viral.
into? Was that a light bulb moment where you're like, "Oh, it feels good up here. I'm a little crooner."
I don't know if it was a light bulb moment, but it felt good. It felt good to do something unexpected. I think what I want from artists are surprises. That's what, and all you can do as an artist is put yourself in the shoes of the listener, and you only really have access to one listener, yourself. So I just pretend I'm the listener. I just like surprises, but I don't think that was the moment I realized, oh, I'd like to do something melodic. I think my whole career I've thought, you know, eventually it would be nice to focus on melody for a bit.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the touchstones? As you're an Electric Lady, the band is vamping, you're sort of like identifying a mood and a tone. But then I listen to this record, I think about 1998, 1999, maybe like a tiny touch in 1991. We talked about Slum Village a little bit, Dwelle, Bilal. Like, I wonder if you could talk about what this was surfacing for you, because I imagine all of that stuff is in you somewhere from growing up and listening to it, and then presents an opportunity to kind of like allow it to bubble. But tell me a little bit about what are those touchstones in your mind.
Absolutely. I mean, you already said it, but Slum Village is a huge one. I think not only sonically but aesthetically, because I'm very interested in this still feeling hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
Whether we're talking about how it looks or how it feels. If you notice, most of the drums are programmed drums that feel like hip hop drums. You know, all the producers were begging me to rap, to be honest. They were making these beats and like, I just put a 16 on this one. I'm like, no, I'm not rapping on this. So I think what Slum represents, I was very inspired by. I think Sade, you know, just the passive quality of her music.
That's
the way
why I said Sunday morning music.
Yeah,
to me, it's
so
Sade,
easy to
you know?
enjoy at any moment. And I think I was inspired by the idea of making a project that you listen to Love Deluxe, you listen to Lovers Rock top to bottom, and it's just, there's not a song on there that you're like, God, let me turn that down.
Right, takes you out of the
no.
macro
She doesn't
thing.
hedge.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to make something that doesn't hedge. I didn't want to have one rap. Like, imagine if Lovin' on Me was on Jackman. You know what I mean? It's like, we don't have to put anything on here to achieve something because I can drop that 3 months later if I want by itself.
Which is you already did.
Let's keep the project sacred.
Right.
Let's let the project be what the project is. So, but those are some of the touch points. For sure.
You also have a lot of visual touch points, which you mentioned, which you alluded to, neutral tones. You and your team sent over a little mood board for us. It was Pac and James Baldwin in a shearling, Lahane, classic film. Talk us through the visual identity of this album, because it feels important to you. You don't have the Kangol on right now, but you mentioned the hat, you know.
It all started with the music, and whatever the music sounded like, I just wanted to decorate around it appropriately. Even the cover art, which is not much of a conceptual statement.
Sure.
But it has an atmospheric, passive quality that I just want to work in tandem with the music. And I'd say the same thing about the clothes. And of course, you know, there's certain things that point to a time and era, but you know, the Kangol is a symbol of something, I think, for sure.
What's it a symbol of?
Okay.
you and John answer.
I'll put it like this. It ain't a cowboy hat.
It's
You
not
get what I'm saying?
Yes, I was going to say, so name 3 Immortal Technique songs.
I got none for you.
I'm sorry, man. It's too easy. But that, it is not a cowboy hat. It is very specifically allied with a moment, like for me in backpack rap in that same Slum Village era.
Yeah.
Again, to me, it represents like maybe the hyper wordy side of it, not so much the kind of like melodic and smooth side, although I guess those hats did get around a lot during that era. But that is in fact what you are trying to code by wearing those hats.
Yeah, I think
We're about to show like 9 photos of you wearing this kind of hat.
Make it
Just
10.
FYI. Okay.
Yeah. I think you know, you're making this music and you got mirrors in your house and you think about what you're doing.
And you just start.
And you put something on and it feels right.
Yeah.
It feels good. Of course, I'm not claiming that I'm not conscious, but a lot of these decisions they weren't put together.
But you already owned that hat.
I bought yes. Before this album started, I owned that hat. But I won't say there's something clearly in me and in the zeitgeist that caused me to buy that hat around the same time that I was starting this music. I put it on him in the mirror and I'm like, you know what, this looks pretty good, especially soundtrack with what I'm making right now.
Okay.
And then you roll.
Leaned in.
Yeah.
And then the hat in the Frenchette video, you have this video that came out on your YouTube channel, which is you. Who are the other folks in the video?
KY Engineering,
Yep.
who's a Lexington native, and Nemo Akita, who's also a Lexington native. 2 guys that I've been around since the beginning of my career and have been key to mentorship, if anything, honestly.
And you are talking to them about dating and interracial dating, but you are also wearing quite the kind of sock hat, which you mentioned earlier is miyake.
Yeah.
Tell me about why is headwear such a powerful signal? I know it's a goofy question, but I do think it really does tell a specific part of the story.
I mean, I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
I'd be curious what you're getting from it. Not because I'm not willing to say, but I don't know exactly what it's signaling. I know it gives me a feeling that I like when I say
What
it.
is that feeling?
Well, for one, it's nice to look different than you've looked in the past.
Yeah.
So you put something on and you're like, cool, this doesn't look like 2022.
It's a new version of me.
That's appealing
Yeah,
for
sure.
one, just in a vacuum. And then, I don't know, I think there's something playful about it. This album's kind of serious. I like the idea of showing that, you know, I'm not trying to present myself as some distinguished professor. Like, I'm 27. Like, I'm excited, about to be 28 when this comes out. I'm excited
Happy
to...
early birthday.
Thank you. Happy birthday.
Today?
It is today. It's coming out on your birthday, which is today. Yeah.
Happy birthday, Jack.
Of course, thank you.
In many senses.
Thank
yeah.
you. But I think it's fun to put things on that are playful and cause a reaction from people, and maybe even are polarizing. Maybe there's a girl that's like, that's cute, and then there's a girl that's like, what are you wearing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's nice.
Both valid.
It creates
both openers.
There's a fun tension.
Right.
Both openers.
It's a conversation.
And I love an opener,
But I have to ask, because
especially one I didn't have to come up with.
we've seen some of your, there's a compilation of your openers out there on the internet.
I'm
But
done
it's
opening.
not.
I'm a headliner now.
It's not great for the curls. I was joking about this, but earlier, but like your curls are flattened out. Like what's in the curl?
Thanks for pointing
What's
that
your
out.
curl? What's your curl?
You're
care?
losing your swag.
I didn't say that.
You didn't
I
have
just,
to.
You know.
No, it's good to be. You know what it is? I wanted to make it a trio of salt and pepper foxes, man. That's
Okay.
really what it is.
There we go.
Because I got my grades coming in, and I am
Here's
not
the thing,
ashamed
it's fine
of
to
them.
say that to me. I think you might have just hurt Joseph.
No, I
So-
know.
Well,
Okay, I know.
collateral.
Look, I'm a grown ass man.
Good.
I'm a father.
That's
I'm a
how I
grown-ass
perceived you
man.
before you said it. So
Thank
good.
you. Thank you. Why'd you move to New York?
I was living in Kentucky, which I love living in Kentucky, but I think I just got to a place where, hey, I'm not retired. I need stimulation.
And you still lived in the apartment you had just bought when we first spoke. You had bought something maybe in 2021 or 2022.
Yeah, I bought a crib in Kentucky,
Yeah.
and I still live there technically.
Mhm.
So when I'm home, I'm there. But I needed a jolt. I think the last few years I've gained a new thirst for knowledge and learning. I can feel the fact that I missed out on college.
I saw you at Climax Books.
Okay, then. Yeah.
Hello to Isabella. Nice
Hello
to
to
see you.
Isabella. And I think some of the things I was reading and watching, they were taking place in New York. And suddenly I started to say, New York as a backdrop for my life sounds appealing. And it was all just gut feeling like, I feel like that's where I need to be. So towards the end of 24, I was like, I'm moving to New York. Like
Nothing better than your 20s in New York.
I need-
It's just factual.
I need forward momentum. I need to be learning. I need to be meeting people that are after the same thing as me. And there's people like that in Louisville, but it's not quite as many sometimes. So
Your first 6 months in New York.
yeah.
What's your cultural diet? What's your absorption?
What are you seeing?
Yeah, what
where are you going?
Seeing, hearing, touching.
Yeah, I think I immediately hit the block and started walking. Like downtown. And I just wanted to render in my head my surroundings. I think just as a person, I like to know where I'm going and get my bearings a little bit and learn the street names and learn where I'm at. So, at least downtown, I feel very comfortable at this point, but that took some effort. That took some conscious effort of like, I'm going to step out until I have this figured out and say, oh, I've arrived in the same spot I arrived at when I came this way. You know what I mean?
Solo or with
So-
guides?
Solo with groups, with people that are here, discovering it with people that have never been here, et cetera. I love dining. I would much rather go to dinner than go to the club. So trying as many restaurants as I can.
No shortage.
And movies. I mean, when I discovered the independent theaters out here and their programming, that gave me something to do.
You're a film forum guy, you're a Metrograph guy.
All of them. IFC,
Everything.
Film Forum, Metrograph. But yeah, I want to ingest. I just want to be ingesting. And so when I got here, that was...
So you were in sponge mode, and there's no better place to be a sponge.
Yeah,
than
and
New York.
I laugh about it with my friends. I call it obsessive self-enhancement because it's like we try to figure out, are we doing anything that is just to be done? Are we doing anything just for the sake of doing it? Because I even dinners, sometimes I'm like, there's something I'm looking to glean from this, even subconsciously.
Sure.
That's not a good thing. But that's where I'm at in life is I'm like, I want to try places. I want to be enriched. So I think that's what the move is.
You're talking about your love of movies. You just made your Letterboxd public.
Yeah.
I have to ask the behind the scenes question. You share a publicist with Charlie XCX.
Yeah.
She just had a big hit putting her Letterboxd out. Was this album promo or was this
Absolutely not. And I'm actually so glad
Was this a playbook or this was all you?
It was not a playbook. I can tell you with conviction.
You were really on Letterboxd.
I mean, I think you should just go take a look at it because it's actually pretty lived in.
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I noticed, can I just shout out your review of Clute?
Am I wrong?
Cuz looks like the Dare
Don't
about
he?
Donald Sutherland.
Donald Sutherland looks just like him.
Shout out to Harrison. The
Yeah,
Dare.
shout out. Good to see you.
That's a compliment. Looking like Donald Sutherland in the 70s.
I don't disagree. Yeah,
But that I agree. When I saw that one, I was like, okay, this was not meant to be public, or this was not made to be public.
for sure. I love the login quality of that, and I never wanted to make it public because I'd gone so long without music that I think I was embarrassed to come back to my fan base and say, "Hey, why don't y'all watch me watch movies?" Like I needed to announce music first, and now that I've announced music, I'm like, you know what? I let people into this little world.
I'm not on Letterboxd, so I'm talking a big game with no.
I love your prefaces.
No stakes.
You always act like you're about to put me on the spot.
But you watch a lot of movies. You watch way more movies than I do.
I could have guessed that.
More than John.
Yeah.
John, not a movies guy.
But I don't seem like a cinephile.
I mean, do you miss a beat on anything media? I feel like you are an art taker-inner.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
That's what we got. That's what.
So go ahead. What are you
we're
about
lucky
to
enough
say?
to get paid. You're not starring in these movies.
Correct.
Is that fear?
Political?
Yeah. Is that political? Like you don't want to offend a director because you're still trying to get back on the big screen?
You know what it is? I don't even know if I want to act anymore. I've discovered I don't like acting that much. So
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's driven by that. I think it's a little messy when you see all those stars.
Okay.
I think it's actually rather uninteresting to see if somebody gave a 3.5 or a 4. I'd rather trim the fat, and you either see a heart or you don't.
Right. You do like a little critic's choice. Like either I fuck with this or I don't.
I don't actually, like there are real critics out here that have,
Fair enough.
you know what I'm saying?
Fair enough. No, but I think there's something
I
about
don't aspire to be a critic. I
artists
aspire
are
to,
scared of rating systems because they've been rated their whole lives.
But I also think rating systems obviously are flawed.
So maybe what you're saying is maybe I have an empathy.
I think that's right.
And that could be true. And maybe it's conscious, maybe it's subconscious. I don't know. But yes, maybe I'm not as interested in, laying down an opinion about how high quality this is. You know, what I've noticed in Letterboxd, it's just a chance for me to express myself and react to different pieces of art.
I love the blogging quality of it. Like people are legitimately funny, yourself included. Like I think like this is like it's a place to get jokes off like Twitter in 2012.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Because I'll say it like this. I'm not even that interested in how many stars someone wants to give a movie.
Right.
And I'm not very interested in how many stars I want to give a movie.
Mhm.
I'm posting what I'm interested in.
All right. By the time this episode comes out, I will have started my Letterboxd.
I can't believe you haven't.
Seriously?
I'm ready. I've been Letterboxd curious for a minute now, but I'm ready to log.
I don't need any more writing assignments. I'm good.
I'm surprised you ain't got one.
All we do is video.
No, I have a book to finish. Jeez. When you were sort of on this mission of absorption, when you moved to New York, are there things that you saw, ate, felt that actually opened up something new in you that you didn't know that you had, emotionally or creatively?
City biking?
Because it's one thing to be like, I walked the streets, I went to the bar, I went to Clandestino. It's one thing to do that, but it's another thing to be like, I tried something that is totally foreign to me. I went and saw a movie in a language that I don't know and there's no subtitles, and I went, I don't fucking know. I'm just saying that there are ways to absorb things that reinforce your sense of self, even if you're doing it casually.
Or reshape it.
Yes.
Of course.
And I want to know where on that arc you felt like
It'll
you
be
were
hard for me
landing.
to pick out specific things, but what you're saying makes a lot of sense to me because I am forever interested in how many blind spots of my own can I discover.
Yeah.
And, I'm totally curious about things that maybe weren't available to my friend group or weren't available in the hometown I was in, because becoming more well-rounded is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel like, especially if you were the kid in public school that got along with so many different groups of people, you carry that with you and you'd like to think, cool, I'd like to gain more and more understanding. And it's also discovering what you don't like. I am enjoying growing into a person that knows what I'm disgusted by instead of just like, oh, I love that. I love that. Oh, yeah, I see beauty in everything. I don't see beauty in everything. I'd like to try everything and say, oh, no, that ain't for me. That's not, I don't like that. So I'm very interested in things that reinforce something besides what I already perceive myself to be. I'm constantly interested in challenging that. So yeah.
You mentioned, to go back to the kind of relentless and maybe restless self-enhancement.
I'm glad you like that. I could see a glimmer in your eye when I said that.
That's a phrase. Yeah, John
just
responds
like,
to
I'm gonna
phrases.
exploit this one.
Yeah,
Let's get it.
lean in.
It's gonna pop up in a story soon.
Bring it on.
I wonder, I don't want to say the prior incarnation because it's not like you've been around 60 years and have had 100 lives, but when I think of the Jack on the Jungkook record, Lovin' on Me, these are ego-driven big hits in my mind. Is being ego-driven in the context of the music that you used to make or were making, is there something about braggadocio that is an endpoint in and of itself where you say, I'm this guy, I'm great, I'm excellent, I have so much to offer. Is that inconsistent with the kind of self-improvement or growth or absorption that you're seeking to engage in now?
Well, it certainly can't be totally unrelated. I mean, I can't tell if you're asking, have I actually escaped my ego? Because I don't think I
don't think you have.
Yeah.
No. I don't think it's that.
Yeah.
But I just wonder if, in order to create egoless music in an era of your life where you are
still accessing the ego.
Yeah. Like, I wonder how hard it is to kind of say, I'm going to compartmentalize something.
I mean, it's all about how, how zen are you actually willing to go? Of course, I wasn't willing to convert to Buddhism this round. Maybe eventually I will. Who knows? But yeah, I totally agree. I think maybe that's why I even raised the point, is I still have these conflicts with, like, oh wow, there's ego in that too. It continues to pop up as I continue to try and reconcile it. So I guess my answer is I don't disagree with you. Yeah.
When we spoke earlier, we were revisiting some themes from our 2022 conversation. And that was a time when you were saying, I think I can be one of the top guys. I can be like on Rap Caviar every week, playing in that space. I feel like I'm good enough. My songs are good enough. I feel like I can keep doing that. And obviously that's not exactly what we're doing now. But I wonder if you can talk me through letting go of some of that, because that bluster is part of the original charm of Jack Harlow arriving into the game. And I wonder if you could talk about, do you have fond memories of that bluster, and what is it like to let go of that?
I think it's such a wonderful question. I definitely question how much of that bluster I'm able to access.
Yeah.
But I also know that there's different seasons in your career that call for different things. And I think I'm just embracing the season I'm in, and this is what it is. And, I also think that life and a career, but life especially, humbles you and teaches you things and teaches you not to be so certain about who you are and where you're headed. And so I do not rule that type of music out at all, but I would like to do it at a higher frequency. I'd like to do it at a higher level. I'd like it to be more unique. Maybe it come from a more unique point of view if I do make some of that more braggadocious music, because I think there's a way to do it. When I put out Tranquility, I don't know if y'all heard Tranquility, but I put it out towards the end of last year. That was one of the first times I felt like I captured what I'd be looking for as a rapper.
In returning to rap, yeah.
Last project, I was giving you conceptual. Next project, I'll be giving you exceptional.
Yeah, it just in terms of the mood and my point of view on it.
I think there's a lot of that on Jackman too, like in little bits and pieces. Like I think specifically of the first track.
Yeah.
Common Ground.
Yeah. Where it's like where you're tackling race head on.
Reciting rap lyrics by murder and cash profit. Get to feel like a thug, but don't have to act on
it. For sure, but I just think, I don't know, I don't want to get lost on a tangent, but
it's the only way to get lost.
Of course.
You said that life can humble you.
Yes.
Are there specific things that happened 2024, 2025 that are not musical, not connected to song making, that put you in a position of feeling maybe more humble as an individual, which then refracts back into what you feel like you want to make?
I sure hope so.
I think moving to New York can do that to people, where you're like, if you've always been the biggest person.
That's a nice life rap you just threw me, to be honest, because I think I'm just gonna be real. I realized that when I was in my early 20s, New York did not appeal to me as much, and part of that is the imposter syndrome of radio freestyles, label meetings. You're showing up to audition to see if you have what it takes to do the thing you love.
It's a place of work.
Times Square.
It is like literally a
you
place.
associate it with something negative, and then that doesn't even. That's aside from how much it is.
Yeah.
And I think I look back at my early 20s and I was very uninterested in being one in a million or being amongst the sea of people, being in the crowd. I was very averse to being in the audience. I think I had a need to be the main character and be on stage. And I think as I get older, that is less and less important to me, to be the main guy and be the guy that is always getting the attention. Don't get me wrong, I still have a deep need for attention. But I think I'm more comfortable walking around New York and being one in this sea. New York makes you feel small, and I'm okay with feeling small more than I was maybe years ago.
You were on a very Drake path for a while.
Yes, School of Drake, absolutely.
And also personal kinship with him.
Yes.
And not just as a friend, but I think as a kind of lodestar of how to move.
Before I met Drizzy, I knew he and I would get along, but it's hard to crack jokes when you really want advice.
I feel like that is less where you are now. Tell me about letting go, if you are indeed letting go, or moving away from that approach to the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to be Michael Jackson or I'm going to die trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything y'all are saying, it resonates with me. And I think as I've gotten older, I've become more concerned with finding my voice and finding the way I want to move as an artist. And I think I'm much more averse to mimicry or anything that feels derivative than I was in the past. I think I was so determined to achieve a certain thing and land in a certain place that maybe the spot I wanted to land in my head wasn't as nuanced as it is now. And I think that individuality is what appeals to me more, which is maybe why I'm willing to make a project like Jackman and Monica, which, you know, have their own qualities of influence, but I'm looking to carve out my own island, and I'm less concerned with how immediately big I can make that island.
Like the size of the fame doesn't matter, because there was a time when the size of the fame mattered.
But it's easy to not worry about the size of the fame when you've already had almost the biggest size of fame. Like, it's easy for you now to be like, I can try something else,
it's
because
also,
you almost achieved as much as you could possibly achieve, at least in little moments.
It's partly that. You definitely get a taste, but I also think you can't hide behind that. It's also what's available to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, some things are out of your control, and your career unfolds a certain way, and people react a certain way, and they perceive you a certain way, and you are forced to work with the materials that the world is giving you. So it's very easy for me to say, oh, it's so funny, the materials that everyone gave me with their reactions, it's actually exactly what I wanted. So I'm going to actually build my shed with that. No, you get what's available to you. So early in my career, I was split between, do I want to be an entertainer or an artist? Do I want to be a celebrity or an artist? I have now chosen artist in a way that I wasn't as sure about early on. I thought I could do both, but I realized that, you know, not everybody can do both at the exact same moment, you know? So I'm focusing on the artistry. And if that means suddenly we intertwine celebrity and entertainer back into that, that's wonderful. I think naturally that can happen. I'd like to think I can do that, but I've committed. And that's what I want to do, is commit to the art, you know?
Are you still in therapy, or you just have John?
He's had that in the clip for 7 minutes waiting for the chance to say it.
Truthfully, and I didn't even know it was there.
John didn't know.
I didn't even know.
You
knew I was loaded up.
Are you making a joke? Or you
No,
asking me
I'm
something?
asking you. I'm serious. You're a very self-aware person, especially for a celebrity, a recovering celebrity in their late 20s. No, you sound like you've had some
album
therapy.
5, recovering celebrity.
Yeah. Are you still in therapy? I know you've talked about it in the past.
I'm not
I think
in therapy.
you're not.
I'm not in therapy.
You felt like you got what you needed to out of that experience.
I might talk to a therapist next week.
Yeah.
But when somebody says, "Are you in therapy?" It's like, is that a?
It wasn't judgment.
I didn't take it as judgment at all. I'm saying, but the question feels like, is that a regimented part of your life?
Right. Is it a part of your life?
No, it's not habitual.
I want to cycle back one more time to dating and women before we move into our lightning round.
Let's rock out.
The video John alluded to, the album teaser, one of your friends asked you, like, is essentially is dating in New York still a magical, fun time for you? But you sort of dodged the question in the video. So is dating in New York still a wild ride, fun time for you?
I mean, I don't feel like I'm in the wrong place.
Who's Monica? Is she an idea?
I just have always loved that name. I think that name is so pretty. I've always liked it. It's just like how I feel about the name Adrian for a man. I love the name Adrian.
For a man.
Well, it can be for both.
Sure.
But I'm saying I love when I meet a man named Adrian.
Okay.
I'm like, okay. So
Wild.
Top 5 Adrians.
you don't know any of the ones I know.
Damn.
I got some Adrians in my own.
In your pocket. You got pocket Adrians.
like Brody's probably 7.
Yeah.
You know
Wow.
what I'm saying?
All right.
Damn.
I know some good
challenge.
Adrians.
Yeah.
A challenge.
And he's a beast, but I know some Adrians.
Yeah.
But yeah, Monica's just a pretty name, man. And it's the passive thing we were talking about. You want the music to sound good forever. I want the album title to be something I can say forever and enjoy saying it and enjoy hearing it.
Right before the last track, you hear your parents talking about their love story. Is that right?
Yeah.
Talking about their dating life turning into their life together.
We went to a movie the next time.
Yeah.
Was that the second date?
First official date was a movie.
And then we went to dinner.
And then the album ends on this sentiment of, I'll call you when my life slows down. Like, I'll let you know when I'm ready, essentially.
Maybe I'll get at you when my life gets slow. I'll be understanding if you change your name.
It's an album of romantic ups and downs, come-ons, goodbyes. But you sort of land in this place that to me says, I think about love all the time. I'm a romantic. I'm obsessed with women and experience. Am I wrong?
No cap.
But I'm not ready to settle down yet. Is that where you are?
I wrote the album for a reason, not so we could sum it up and bastardize it. No offense.
You tell me then.
I already told you. I made the album. I mean, what?
The album
what
is
what are you asking me?
I'm just asking if that landing point is where you were when you finished the album, or that's an accurate summation.
I think that outro
where you are now.
Yeah, it is accurate, and I think "Say Hello" is probably it probably captures the album the most for me. I think that outro is really saying, you don't have any obligation to me, I don't have any obligation to you, but it doesn't mean we can't share a warm feeling for the rest of our lives. Maybe when I run into you, it could still be all good. I hate ending on bad terms. I don't want my album to end on bad terms.
But again, ego.
Maybe so, John.
Not maybe.
I've talked about that a lot.
But hang on. He's derailing your whole shit.
No, I'm re-railing.
John, playing therapist.
Not playing.
He's not playing.
Not playing.
Big bro.
Not
therapist.
Just not playing.
No, he's being shrewd. I get it, but I don't think so. I don't understand. You can find ego behind anything. I'm just talking about things that are. Say why that's ego, please. Explain to me what about that sentiment is ego-driven. If you can find ego within it somewhere in the crevices, cool. I won't argue with you.
Because I think what I suspect is that the warm feeling that you're seeking, the long-term warm feeling, the ability to return to a person.
Wait, who said I was seeking that?
You just said that doesn't mean we can't share a warm feeling, even if we're not in love,
Go
right? On. Number one, if you are the person who's setting those terms, and what you're doing is essentially, if you wish for some other feeling towards me, I'm actually not going to make room for that. I actually can't give space to that. And that's because I wish to have wide warm feelings, potentially.
Freedom.
And that's one way to think about it. And that position is a position of ego. Now, I can't presume to know what's on the other end of each of those conversations, but I do think being able to set those terms and actually having the power to set those terms. Well,
propose terms. Why can't terms be proposed and agreed upon? That's not so ego-driven to say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. What are you thinking? That's where I'm at with it. It's, I'm not, they got to make their album and respond. But this is my.
And we will happily welcome them.
What are you doing with that?
You're gonna pull a card.
What are you doing with that?
You're gonna pull a card. It's gonna correspond to a question pre-written.
I can see this side.
It doesn't matter what the cards are because you don't know what the questions are.
No more.
Pull a couple cards. This is a Popcast Lightning round. What do you got?
6.
6 of what?
This is clubs or spades.
The thing I've learned most from doing the lightning round is that nobody knows
Nobody
suits.
plays cards.
I thought every famous person played
Some of
poker.
us are making music for a living.
Oh my gosh.
We don't all have time to go home and play with each other.
I wish we had extra decks of cards. We would send you home with ones you can have in the studio.
I would have recognized hearts.
The most Jack Harlow thing ever said.
Feel me?
My work's done.
Spades or it's clubs?
Maybe diamonds too. I might have recognized diamonds.
6 of spades. This is a good one for you. You do the cards if I'm going to do the questions. This is a good one for you. 6 of spades. In what ways are you still immature?
He just told y'all.
Give us one more.
Tell ya.
Give us one more way you're
covered
still
my
immature.
whole list. How am I still immature? Still a control freak in a way that life, I assume, teaches you not to be. Still, I'm trying to have this chokehold on outcomes.
personal and professional?
Sure. I just noticed that there's a rigidity that I can't shake, that it feels a little immature sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like moving to New York, for example, and kind of like destabilizing your own your life, like just being like, I'm going to move to a new city, I'm going to feel like I'm in a place that I don't totally understand, was part of that thinking in order to get away from that version of immaturity?
Probably a little bit. I have a very comfortable, predictable life back in Kentucky.
Yeah.
And I don't know how good that is for growth. So yeah, maybe so.
Okay. All right.
Pull another card.
9 of diamonds.
9 of diamonds. How many people's phone numbers do you have memorized?
2.
Mom and dad?
Yeah.
How many people's phone numbers do you have memorized?
2. I bet if I dug deep, I could get like my high school best friends' cell phones back in my head, but basically just my mom and my wife.
Yeah, you mean if you memorized more, you would know more?
No, I mean, they're somewhere deep in my memory.
Yeah.
And if I thought about it for 2 seconds, I think I could
Well, don't do it
recover
right
that
now.
memory.
Don't do
Nah,
that
that's
right
boring
now.
as hell. Pull another card.
5 of diamonds. I'm in a
Alright.
good
Gonna
spot.
build a good hand.
This is a good one too. Whose social media page do you spend too much time on?
Nobody's.
You're off? Or you just don't
I
get
just don't.
obsessed?
There's no page that I spend too much time on. I'll tell you that.
Whose social media page do you spend the right amount of time on?
Any of them. I mean, I'm not trying to be evasive. This is when they.
Can I just say I really appreciate you're the first artist of any stature to just hit the DM direct to share the music, because like
I'm very protective. There's a control freak coming out.
but I actually
But
appreciate
I think
lack of middlemen.
Yeah, like the idea. Sometimes that impulsive control can manifest as preciousness. Like, oh, I couldn't possibly share this. You know,
it's
like
funny because I see it as opposite. Like,
I
don't have to put it through the teams.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like, that's how it should be, or that's the correct way to operate.
I don't know if I'm allowed to DM y'all because y'all have a journalistic integrity to protect. So I was like, here, am I allowed to speak to you?
No, it's like it was. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
So
of course.
thank you for that.
Your DMs are open for this.
Anyone who I read my DMs.
Yeah,
and I respond.
I respond to send him a pair of New Balances once.
Oh yeah,
can't do that.
A DM is not the same as a pair of Harlow New
Balances.
Balances are of a certain value.
Well, they're showing up now. I'm gonna get the PO box.
But I did get the KFC promo pack
because it was
when you
under
did
the
that.
price limit.
I don't know. It's just maybe it was like in from the label. Yeah, like that's in the archive.
Yeah,
good.
All right, pull another card.
This is awesome. This is such a good time with y'all.
Oh, that's
You having
very
fun?
kind. I hope you're having fun.
I already see the comments and the DMs I'm going to get, which is like, why was this guy so mean to Jack?
I hope that's what they say instead of something else. 8 of spades.
All right.
What always makes you laugh?
Old clips of my friend group from when we were teenagers. Somebody dropped something from the group chat that made us laugh 10 years ago. It still smokes me. Just, super
Great answer.
personal.
Yep.
Videos of you guys, or the
Videos,
things
photos.
that
Videos you
were-
watched
or the things
together.
that you
Yeah.
watched.
No, things
back
of
then.
us, things that have
Yeah.
become memes within our group that
Yeah, sure.
only 10 people would understand. They hit just so hard because you build up a memory of laughing about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, pull one more card and then we'll eat a snack.
Jack of Hearts.
Come on, man.
You're
This
lying.
isn't even
show
fucking
it to
fair.
the camera.
I shouldn't even curse, but that's not fucking
Yeah,
fair.
don't curse, man. Go ahead.
That's no cursing on this album. That's not fair. This is crazier than Bon Iver pulling a full house. Bon Iver pulled a full house. Justin pulled like the 5 cards were a full house.
That's unreal.
It's shocking. But
You
this
ending
is
on Jack of
actually-
Hearts, and that leads us right into our final question, which is, do you gamble? And if so, what's your game?
I don't gamble.
No FanDuel?
Not at all.
No DraftKings,
No
Prize
Kalshi?
Picks. None of this is sponsored.
No
I've
sponsor.
never had a parlay. I've never done none.
I don't even know what a parlay is.
Well, then you're like me, boss.
Yeah.
No gambling. It's not in you.
I'm not a
You don't have
gambler.
a stomach for risk.
No, I'll play when I go back to Louisville. I'll play poker with my boys and everybody will throw a 20 in, but I don't
Sure.
gamble.
No Vegas, like
No,
poker tables.
I can't wait to
blackjack
leave
tables,
Vegas
roulette
anytime I'm there.
tables. Okay.
Now gambling is not a thrill of mine.
Control freak.
Perhaps
A lot of perhaps in this interview.
that's right. A lot of perhaps in my life.
Were you workshop? Were you workshopping that before coming in today? Like the kind of like the perhaps could be. What do you think?
What do you think? You think
Yeah,
I was?
yeah.
Yeah, I love how suspicious of me you are.
I'm not suspicious. I'm just suspicious
you know,
by
but you
nature.
can't see your face. I can't. You're looking at me like.
Just a curious guy taking it all in.
I totally get it.
Every episode of Popcast ends with a snack test. You walked in, you picked 2 snacks.
It wasn't 2. It was pick that one and
Sure.
then.
And then you
record
had
show.
you had buyer's remorse. You had second thoughts. It's almost like you don't like to choose one thing. You know, you don't want to tie yourself down to
Wow.
one thing. You know,
Pretty
So you
amazing.
got
Wow.
Pretty amazing and true.
you
Yeah.
got Terry's
That was a freestyle too. That's
chocolate orange slices, minis, and you got Milkita.
These, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so
That's
the
what I'm naming my daughter.
The Milkitas, I feel like I bought in Hawaii. I'm not 100% sure. Terry's, where do those come from?
They look British.
I mean, they're British, but did you buy them?
not that I know of. Neither expired, which is great. We often eat expired snacks here. The Milkitas, which you want to go chocolate chase with Milkita, or you want to go Milkita chase with chocolate?
What do you think? You're the connoisseur of this stuff.
Wait, can I just Milkita chocolate? Like,
Trust me.
This guy. This guy.
You thought I was over there fumbling around?
Phenomenal.
he was trying to make a joke.
Phenomenal.
We got it.
I didn't know it was a joke.
All right.
How about a statement?
Choose your own adventure in terms of order. Strawberry milk
Choose your own adventure in
flavored
a lot of
gummy.
ways.
Milkita. I was not expecting that. I was going to be chewy.
Last week I got in trouble for saying that something was a laborious chew.
This is not a chew.
It's so laborious that it's not even a chew.
Yeah, I can't even get this going yet.
Jack, you know what laborious means?
This was a point of contention
With your friend,
with
Drewski,
Drewski,
was
who accused me of.
roasting this man for saying laborious.
As
was like,
he
"You could
said, he
just
looked
say
at me and he said,
chewy."
"Just say chewy." To which my response is, "Anyone can say chewy."
Well, that's low hanging fruit. He didn't have much to work with, I guess. He's like, what the hell does that mean?
Bro, laborious?
It's troubling to me.
Who the fuck is saying laborious
troubling
in
to
everyday
me.
life? I've never heard it, bro.
Would it be better if we were just letting it?
I think that's the.
Letting it
I think it's
soak?
I think it's a long snack.
Well said.
I'm gonna spit it out. I don't like it.
I'm not.
I don't like it.
I'm loving this.
Mm.
Y'all got all these gripes. I love it.
Where do you rate this?
Easygoing guy.
Where do you rate it?
Yeah, what out of 10?
6.
I'm a 4.
Yeah, it's a 4.
Well, I'm not as, seasoned as y'all with this stuff.
You eat a lot of junk food?
Y'all have these every week. No, I don't eat any.
You're a healthy eater.
Yeah.
Nice. Good for you.
Thank you.
Always, like since your teenage years.
No, I used to eat insane.
Mm-hmm. And what changed you?
Vanity.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Wanting to feel good. Your system, you get older, they always tell you, I can't eat like that no more. It's true. You can, Suddenly, your body just doesn't
We
react
haven't
well
we haven't hit that point yet, John and I.
because y'all are beasts.
Or if I have, I've seen no evil, hear no
All
evil.
right.
I just
Orange.
gave up red meat.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. I like the chocolate orange slice. I grew up on these. Not this brand, but
I've
it's
never
a
had one of
classic.
these.
It's a
So it's
classic
orange
flavor.
flavored chocolate?
Yes.
It's not a piece of orange, like a candied piece of orange.
No, it's chocolate with a essence of orange.
Buckle around.
I used to get one for Christmas every year.
Oh.
In the shape of an orange, you smash it, and then the pieces open up.
What are you, are you Italian?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is less, I was worried it would be too fragrant in a way.
No, it's subtle.
Yeah, this is less offensive than I thought it was going to be.
I think it's very artful.
Yeah, I thought it would be, I don't know, I think also as I'm older, citrusy flavors, which used to really kind of like stress me out, don't stress me out the way that they used to. But I think
growing
this
up,
is
John.
yeah, it really is. It's
Yeah.
actually one of the rare signs of maturity that I've had in my
Being able to
40s,
stomach
in my
citrus.
40s towards 50s.
Yeah.
Um,
I like this a lot. I think that's like an 8.5 out of 10. I'm not a chocolate guy in general, but I think it's a really nice snack.
the chocolate does have that kind of like chalkiness of British chocolate, which is very different than the smoothness of American chocolate. But I do find the flavor
This is bomb.
sophisticated.
Yeah.
Where do you rate it?
I haven't had a piece of candy in maybe 18 months.
Wow.
So that just tastes so good.
Wow. I hope we didn't permanently derail your life cycle
Hope
by
so, too.
getting back on this.
But I will say, maybe all candy is good.
Yeah. Well, welcome to Popcast. So where are we? 7, 8, 9, 10? Where are you?
I want to raise the strawberry up
Damn.
to a 7 because this is a 8. Yeah.
I think it's also an 8.
Mhm.
I think I don't love the finish of the chocolate, but I do think that the flavor is like quite elegant.
Yep.
So like good on them. Chocolate, Milkita. We all learned something today. Jack Harlow. Yeah. Great day on Popcast.
I wish it would never end. I really feel so at ease with y'all.
Here's the thing:
So
when we start live streaming, will you come back and do a live stream with us?
I'm down for whatever with you.
Like,
I'm not just saying
we're
that
being
on camera.
sincere. Like I'm being sincere. Like
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
like this is not an offer we would make to everybody.
Yeah.
But like if like we're gonna start live streaming, will you come back and sit with us for a live
We're
stream?
gonna hang and play each other Immortal Technique songs.
It sounds like I need to be there.
Yes, it's mandatory education. That is our show. Truly a special and hilarious day on Popcast. Jack Harlow, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
A joy. Every episode ever is at nytimes.com/popcast. We're on YouTube. Tap that subscribe at Popcast, TikTok, Instagram. Credits and link in bio. We will be back next week. We're out.
I wish I could trade places with that fence. I wanna be the one that you lean against. We can make it so you maintain innocence.
Couldn't even listen to my album without getting on his phone.
That's not true. I only looked at my phone once.
I'm talking about once. I'm talking about twice.
I was taking notes.
I wasn't. I think
He made me stop so he can send a Slack.
I had to send a Slack to Kate. I had something important.
You know what?
was
You know what I did in that moment?
Tell me.
Shed my ego. Something you failed to do in that moment.
Here's the thing.
I couldn't wait to play for this guy. We're halfway through and he's like, wait. I'm like, he's about to tell me how much he loves you. He's like, I gotta send a Slack. I said, what, bro?
Do you know what Slack is?
I've heard about it. I know corporate people use it or something. Yeah, it's like Discord for y'all or something.